You know, Rocky, after last weekend's games, you talked about how you liked the effort in a lot of ways more from Friday, the game you lost, more, but you didn't like it as much on Saturday, the game you won. What do you take from that where the weekend kind of went a little funky in that regard?
We've always been a process-driven, process-oriented staff. And if you only focus on your results, then you lose sight of what you're trying to do, which is develop and grow throughout the course of the year. And so there's going to be games where you don't play as well as you can and you win. There's going to be games where you play excellent and you lose. And I think this last weekend was a good example of that. We played better on Friday. Obviously, you know, we were poor on our penalty kill, but that was also some really high-end execution on their end. But, you know, being able to recognize where we fell short in the game on Saturday allows us to then correct some of those things, and because we've been process driven, we understand that situation, and you know, ultimately coming in at the end of the game, win or lose, that's a big factor, but it's not the only factor when it comes to long-term development.
Looking ahead to this weekend, 3 games in Tri-City, 3 days. It's got that playoff feel to it because that's what the first round would be like. 3 games against the same opponent if it goes to that 3-game series. How are you guys approaching this? Are you using the playoff word when describing this weekend?
I don't know if it's using the playoff word from a series perspective, but we are very well aware of the standings and what we can do for ourselves in regards to where we sit in the Western Conference, how much ground we could potentially make up on them, and the likelihood that they could potentially be a first-round opponent. And you know, we have a ton of respect for their organization, and every game we've played with them has been a pretty tight, checking, close affair throughout the course of this year. I expect much of the same this weekend, and the team that's successful is going to limit their turnovers. They're going to win the special teams battle. They're going to be disciplined, and you know, obviously, hot, quick starts and the ability to keep our pace throughout the course of the game is going to be important. And then managing 3 games in 3 days, they have the benefit. They have the benefit of obviously having 2 of those 3 games at home, back-to-back games on Saturday and Sunday. That's a huge advantage for them. But we're going to have to travel at some point in the playoffs. We have to travel down the stretch. We need to be able to win in opponents' buildings, and this is no different.
How good has Keaton Peters been for you guys lately? Points in 7 straight, 1 away from 20 goals on the season.
For the start that he has had, and I think he had 0 goals in his first 15 or 16 games. So to now be 19 goals in his next 40 games is pretty impressive. You know, I look at what he's been capable of doing throughout the stretch, and you know, he's been a driver for us. He's not a passenger. He's a touch the puck first, play with a lot of energy, bring a lot of positive energy and emotion to the bench. His leadership has been great. Obviously, he's making his line mates better, and they're doing the same thing for him in turn. So, you know, I'm proud of where Keaton's come. It's been a long road for him in Lincoln, but his mature decision to come back and play another year of junior hockey is really paying off for him.